Today's video, we're going to talk about COP26. I thought it was important to sort of do a bit of a summary of the negotiations that were going on there. The deadline was meant to be Friday, it was delayed. What's been going on? Why has that been happening? Have a look at some of the stocks that obviously we've loaded up heavily in over the last sort of year on this channel. We've been talking a lot about clean energy stocks, going green, all of that. So just going to do a bit of a summary. Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Something that happens by chance, I think not.
What is the crack, everyone? Welcome back to Buy Wholesale. I hope, of course, you are all well. Today's video is going to be on COP26. This event has been happening for sort of 2 weeks now in Scotland. And it's, you know, most people, unless you live under a rock, will have heard about it. We all know the importance of the Climate Change Act that needs to be done to try and reduce our carbon footprint, to protect the environment and all that good stuff. But also it does affect our stocks. We're very much loaded up on EV plays, you know, infrastructure, renewable energies, battery recycling, very much heavy sector loaded. So it's obviously going to play a factor. Most people on the channel that are invested in these types of stocks will have seen a very healthy, generally across the board, a very healthy growth in their stocks. Thought I'd do a bit of a summary on COP26, and for those that are wondering where have I been the last 4 days, I've been very, very busy. We'll go on here. You can see, guys, look, I promised it was coming. The Discord, it's starting to take shape. We're getting there, getting permissions sorted out. The admin guys have been very, very good. And you know, when working with people on Fiverr to try and get this all set up for you. We also have our online course now. It looks to be going live soon. You know, we've got a day swing trading course that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing the elite course, which is going to be everything. Get access to the Discord. We're starting to upload some of the stuff. So I'm really, really excited about this product. I did say that all this would be coming. We've seen it for a couple of months now, but it just takes so much time and effort. But realistically, it's been, you know, almost 6 months now of asking people beginner questions, people that have been asking me questions, taking notes, and just developing to the point where I feel like I can offer something good. So keep tuned for that. I'm hopeful for another week, but I have said that a week after week. I just don't want to rush anything. So I'm excited to get that out, but that's not what we're talking about today. If we go to the Guardian, COP26, how it's played out. The phase downs and fragile agreement. So for those that don't know, the package that was on offer was imperfect. Before countries even turned up to the Glasgow, they were meant to have submitted plans that would cut the global carbon output by nearly half by 2030, to limit global heating to 1.5 Celsius above pre-industry levels. Although most countries submitted plans, they were not good enough, and analysts thought that they were far too high, would generate about 2.4. And it is a serious matter. We even have the president here, Sharma, almost in tears. China and India wanted to reopen a vital clause in the agreement that enjoined countries to phase out coal-fired power generation. No dates were given for the phase out, and no more commitment than accelerating efforts towards the phase out of the unabatable coal power and inefficient fossil fuel subsidies. As we know, coal is the dirtiest fossil fuel and it's essential to staying within 1.5 degrees, the most stringent goal under the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, which the impacts of the climate change will become catastrophic and irreversible. The Energy Agency has said that 40% of the world's existing 8,500 coal-fired power plants must be closed by 2030 and no new ones built to stay within the limit. That brings me to our first stock, Active Energy Group. Christ almighty, we haven't talked about Active Energy Group too much on this channel because it has been poorly managed, shocking board of directors, and just in general, a real absolute letdown. But we know the risks. High risk, very, very high risk. We got into this one is because if you do a bit of digging into it, you can see that they got an order from Pacific Corp. Pacific Corp has got obviously links then to Warren Buffett. So if Warren Buffett was invested, we seen an opportunity. We got into this one of the very first stocks on the channel. And thankfully when I jumped on, you know, I was delighted with, I think, about a 30% return. So I did phase out some of the money and left in mostly the house money, so I'm not too badly exposed. On videos on Active Energy Group, I actually did one relatively recently enough. I'll share the link here, you can go in and see it. It's just been a horror show really. It's went down, and we can see here, even if we went back to this time last year, we're back down to those, actually below those levels now. So it's been a really poor run on Active Energy Group. The only thing I would say now is that we're maybe potentially going to be coming into a period where we could see a bit of an interest in this. And the reason we're going to probably see a bit of interest in this is because of what I just read out. Coal, what they're hoping to do and what they're trying to do is use sort of a forestry, just bark and just stuff that isn't really used anymore. And the idea of that is it's renewable, and the carbon footprint, as we know, burning wood is nowhere near as bad for the environment as coal would be. And the idea is this can just be put in with a slight adjustment into coal factories. So we've talked about that benefit. We've talked about the fact that there would be billions of pounds potentially saved, if you want to call it that, from people that own these factories. They can just actually keep them up running, a bit of a tweak, and they can still use those factories. A lot of these coal factories are still being built right now. So you sort of, I seen the gap in the market there, and that's why I invested in them. It's a long hold. It's great to see today we've got a nice 14% jump. We've just moved above the 9-day moving average. And to be honest, with the MACD and the RSI looking like that, we might go on a bit of a run now. We did have a buy symbol come in on Friday as well. So that, I'm going to keep a close eye on that. High risk. We can see here this little emission graph. We can see the buildings, transportation, industry, power, and other. And this is how they're going to do it. So we can see here that power is a huge chunk of the issue with it, and no new power plants are to be approved for coal. No new sales of fossil fuel boilers for 2025. 2030, as we know on the channel, 60% of global car sales are to be electric, which brings us then to the likes of Tesla. Tesla's had one hell of a good run, and it's not been even necessarily driven by the COP situation. It's just had a real good earnings, and the fundamentals, we've talked about it many times on the channel. Right now, if I'm looking at Tesla though, I would be saying not touching it with a barge pole. Now, for those on the channel knows, I've sold in my shares in and around 1150. And I bought 2 at 9.89 the other day when we got down to sort of here on the 10th, and I'm going to just phase in my money. But really, if you're looking to open up a position for a swing trade, I would not be going anywhere near Tesla. Another one that we've invested in on the channel and we've had shares in is Lucid. I did a video on that, told you about my story. I bought right sort of up here once upon a time before the SPAC thing, just rolling the dice on that. I held and just sort of phased in the money. Massively up then on those trades, especially the last sort of fortnight. It's really just lifted. A lot of that, in my opinion, has been people looking at Tesla going, right, let's get into Lucid. But we have seen about 100% rise over the last month, which has been a phenomenal gain. I have a very little left in Lucid. I've sold about 80% of mistake on these rises right up. Although it still looks quite positive, this dip here touched the 9-day moving average, and I don't like that. So that was it. On the 10th, I pulled out the majority. And to be fair, guys, with earnings coming up this week, I probably would sell everything. This is very high price for Lucid. It is not there yet. It could be a great one for the long hold, and I do like Lucid. But for me, a more fair price for Lucid, believe it or not, is going to be in and around $25. We're at $44 right now, going down to 43 in the pre-market. Still maybe a bit of legs to run, and with earnings, you just don't know what way that would go. But if I was looking to open a position, I wouldn't. And you can just see here then, moving back to the graph, 2040, 50% of existing buildings retrofitted to zero carbon ready levels. And that's going to be a huge task, and I'm really excited about that being in the industry. And I know what way I work on school buildings now. I haven't previously worked on hospitals. School buildings now, every single one of them is all to do with carbon footprint. It's to do with BREEAM, it's to do with getting solar panels in, energy efficient, and it's really good. It can be done, and that's what annoys me the most, is that this can all be done, but they're not doing it, which is frustrating. Lithium plays are going to go massive, and there's no coincidence that we have seen that. KODAL, unfortunately, now it's dipped on the back of their brilliant news when I loaded the absolute boat. And I've took an absolute pounding on that, and the reason being, unfortunately, it was a case of buy the rumor, sell the story. Not worried about it. KODAL's going great places, but that is one that's dipped even with this news right now. But for a long hold, I wouldn't even miss the boat. These things they can jump at any time, so KODAL is going to be perfectly fine. Premier African Minerals now, it's another one that's kind of it's dipped quite a bit recently, unfortunately, and we've just sell symbol, so it's not looking like the greatest of swing trades. MACD is not looking terrible though, and the RSI is looking pretty good, but we are just below that, so I'll be waiting for a wee bit further confirmation if I was looking to open up a position for that. Long hold, Premier African Minerals, good stuff coming out. We've done videos, I'll share the links to them, but there'll be updates coming out for Premier African Minerals over the next 6 months that should get the thing a bit of momentum. High risk still, because you're getting to doing the tests on the site to see what kind of quality of resources there, but that's a very good one to be keeping an eye on if you're looking for a sort of potential high risk future play, long hold. We had ChargePoint and Plug. I sold my Plug position last week, can't even remember the date now, but again, only purely because I prefer to have ChargePoint. ChargePoint now with lovely buy symbol coming in on the buy chart just here. We had a bit of a ropey period. I held through this ropey period just on the chance that maybe we would get a rebound. Thankfully we did, and then today we're getting a buy symbol. We're going up 1% in the pre-markets. Done videos on ChargePoint. My plan is to hold this for as long as possible. For the future, I will be swinging in and out of it as usual though. No coincidence that these types of stocks we've talked about well undervalued, based on analyst expectations. Plus, with all the news out there right now, you can see what's happening there. Aqua Metals, this is a stock that is about recycling. They've got great technology to refine and to extract the cleanest possible way. And they've actually announced that they're going to do a subscription package, giving that out to a lot of different places, and allowing them to use their technology to pretty much recycle. I think it's a great model. They've had a bit of bad luck just with factories burning down and different things. But I feel like they're on the way up, and I have been loading the boat. I'm a wee bit too much in them in terms of my portfolio balance, but anything in and around $2, I just had to buy, and anytime it did fall to $2, I was buying. If you had bought this on my buy symbol, you'd be up 20% still, and we would still be riding this. RSI, MACD looks good, Aqua Metals looks very good. And let's not forget American Battery Metals. I'm due to do probably a decent video on this on its own, so I'll not speak too much about it. But again, battery recycling technology, it's had a good run. The last week, especially if we go back to the 5th of November, we can see highs of around 26%. MACD's looking good, bit of strength coming in. We're riding it up to the earnings, which is going to be coming out on the 1st of December, supposedly. So yeah, we're still in this trade buy symbol, and we're still riding it. American Battery Metals looks to be a good one for the long hold as well. And that's really it. I just wanted to sort of do a bit of a recap. COP26 looks to be a final agreement there. We've seen good plans and submissions. We need to get a better understanding. I will do more due diligence into it, but we know the crack, guys. We've loaded up in these stocks a year ago. The story really hasn't changed. We're getting a bit more certainty, and we'll start maybe seeing how they're going to implement these rules that they've faced in. But for me, this is the right sector to be in. You know, the next 10 years, you can see there, you know, there's plans right up to 2040. So with 20 years here of plans, some of these will be slow. You need to try and catch them right. Swing in, time your buys. But these are great long holds. Even the high risk ones will get momentum. And the ones that we've picked that are high risk look to be in a decent financial position to be able to ride out any potential sort of dips or bad poor form. So that's the video, long one. I hope you found it informative. We had a recap on a lot of our stocks here, but I'm really excited. Check out my playlist as well, the Go Green one. If you like supporting the channel, feel free to do that. Buy me a coffee. A lot of people helping me out on that. I really do appreciate that. Stay tuned for the courses, and if you do like, please smash the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Hit subscribe. All that really does help support the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.